Welcome everyone to another day trading psychology video. In this video we will talk about greed, what it is in context of day trading, why is it dangerous and almost always bad, and lastly how can you overcome it. If you're a beginner trader, you're probably more worried about fears such as fear of missing out and fear of losing, as we talked about in the previous couple of videos. But greed can also be a big obstacle if you cannot overcome it. So, how does greed manifest in your day trading? One of the most simple examples is when you are already in a winning trade and you have a preset profit taking level, but you're still not taking it off due to greed. And greed is almost always related to P&L, to getting more P&L. So imagine a scenario where you're aiming for $1 a share profit and it gets there, but then you take a look at the P&L and you see it is $80. So you say, oh, it would be so much better if this is $100 instead. So what do? You let it run. You say, okay, let's see what happens. Now, in some cases, it may go to your direction, but there may be cases where it will reverse, it will fail from that point, and you may get even more stubborn because you could have had the profits that you planned for, and now you're getting the loser, so you may end up spiraling out of control and doing all kinds of really bad stuff. So this is one of the top examples and one of the most common examples where you are in a winning trade, you cannot take it off at a predetermined price due to greed. So what is the solution right here? Well, the solution is always have a predefined plan on where are you going to take the profits and don't look at P&L. This is really important. Like, it may seem that looking at P&L is important, but it really is not, because every single trade should be a separate event. It should be a separate trade. It should not depend upon the previous trades that you took on that day. Okay? All right, so what are some other examples of greed manifesting in day trading? That is getting into euphoric state, getting into a state of euphoria after you had a couple of good trades, let's say, or you could have had a couple of winning days back to back, and then you come the next day and you're swinging the bet hard. That's your plan. And you're overconfident and you're greedy and you think, okay, I made $200 these 3 days and I made $200 each of those days, so right now I must do it again, or let's even increase it. Let's aim for 300. So what do? You start, going around your strategy. Because your strategy led you to those good results in the first place. And now, for your emotional state of mind and for greedy reasons, you are trying to change it. You didn't change it logically. Now, obviously, you want to scale up. You want to increase your risk. You want to increase your targets. That's out of the question, but it has to be really thought out. It has to be based on some real rock solid evidence. It cannot be just off of a streak of couple of days. And even worse, sometimes this can happen after a streak of two or three winning trades. People can get into this euphoric state really quickly. So just imagine you take one trade, it's a winner. You take another, it's a winner and even bigger than you've expected. And then you take a third trade, which you thought was a B plus quality or even C quality. It was not. You didn't have that much confidence in it, but you still took it, and it turns out to be a good winner. So by that point, you really think you're invincible, and that's when the greed comes out, and you say, okay, I must be really good at this. And this is what happened to me as well. And then you take a fourth trade, but you say, let's really bump the risk up. And what you do, you take 2x risk uh, to make it even a better day. Aim for the best day of your career or whatever the case may be. And then, of course, in some cases, it may work, but there are cases where it will go south really quickly. And then uh, it is, here's the thing. So it is much easier to get from a neutral state to a state of a bit of anxiety and of feeling that losing feeling than it is to get from euphoric state to a hellish state. And this is what could happen in this case, because in point A in time, you think of yourself as this indestructible day trader who can do whatever he wants. And then all of a sudden, out of this euphoric state, you see that you are not that trader. And you see the huge loss coming your way. And you cannot react the same way as if you were in a neutral state before that, but you react much, much worse. You have much, much more anxiety, much, much more fear of this illusion that you created being broken, and you start making some bad decisions, averaging down, not accepting the loss. I could go on and go on, but the point is, greed led you there. This euphoric state of greed led you there. You could have said, okay, I took instead, you could say, okay, I took 4 trades. It's pretty good. Let me just follow my strategy. And that's it. Let me just follow my strategy. Let me follow my rules. I know they led me here. I don't have to do anything else. Okay, it would be great if I could make it 10x out of this day, but is it really realistic? Let me just reinstate that this is a marathon. I don't have to make all the winnings today. All right? Now, obviously, after some time passes and after you gain experience and become more and more, uh, tuned into the markets, tuned into these small trends, tuned into your own streaks, you could beef it up, you could change it up, but usually it will come out of emotional state, and that's not the way to go. All right? Yeah. So those are some of the things that I wanted to talk about greed. Now there are more, but these are uh, some of the key examples and some of the key suggestions that I have. So to reiterate, one of the top ones is just hide your P&L. I did it. I had to do it at one point because I I explicitly remember that I was in a trade and I really like these whole numbers, right? And I was really close to winning 300 bucks, but I was somewhere around 270, 260, and it was pretty near resistance. But the chart was looking as if though I should exit already, but I did not think about that, or even if I thought about that, and I think perhaps even I did, this fear of greed was so much bigger. Like I was, okay, let me get that 300. I know how it feels. I know how it feels to see 3 instead of 2. And that's where I found out, I cannot look at P&L. I need to really hide it. I need to not even be aware of it. And then after day trading session, I take a look at it and see what happened, right? And then also you can keep a journal, emotional journal of how many times did you do this greedy decision, and then point out the outcome of that, right? And then you will see, inevitably, you will see like 4 out of 5 times it will be bad. And even if it is 1 out of 5 times and 4 out of 5 times you survive, this one time it can lead to this spiral, it can lead to some really bad decisions. and you feel this adrenaline when you are greedy, so you need to fight that. That's the third suggestion. You need to be really grounded, because when you feel the greed, when you start to feel your heart pumping, you start to feel energized. It feels really good, honestly. But that's the thing. Even though it feels good, it is so bad for your day trading. Okay, so try to not get excited, or when you get excited, try to really, be on top of your emotions. Try to observe that emotion and say, okay, I recognize now that I'm in this heightened sense of uh, not anxiety, but adrenaline, and that I should try to aim smaller, try to keep it lower. Okay, that was all for this video. Hopefully this was beneficial to you. Now, these videos are pretty much raw thoughts, and these videos are not scripted, so I'm trying this format out, just trying to share the knowledge that I have. Obviously, you have a whole lot of educational content on this, but this is more intended for sort of like a podcast type of content, and you can just pop it in, take a listen. It's not too long, but not too short. But obviously, let me know what you think, and if you like it, drop the like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more.